Hi, everyone. Welcome to B-Sides Las Vegas Camp Stay at Home for 2021. I hope everyone joining us over the next couple of days is staying healthy and safe, as well as your families and friends. My name is Cindy Jones, otherwise known as Cinders and Ashes, and I'm lucky enough to be the president of the board of directors for BSidesLV. I'm super happy to be here introducing this, our 12th event. And I'm going to take a few minutes of your time sharing some of what this conference has brought to the masses and how we do things. For you newcomers to the B-Sides world, just want to give you a brief history lesson. Back at RSA in 2009, there were just too many submissions and not enough time slots for all these great quality talks to take place in. An idea was born. Started off over Twitter, and it grew and grew and grew. Wouldn't it be great if these talks that didn't get accepted had an opportunity to share with each other and their friends? So a house was rented. Some people hung up some sheets on the walls for screens, and a bunch of knowledge was shared. It kind of became a thing. Since this first event, the B-Sides movement, and it has become a movement, has taken hold around the world, and ours is just one of over 170 events held since that very first get-together at a vacation rental back in 2009 in Las Vegas. We've been at a few other venues since that first rental. We spent some time in a lazy river at a mansion. We've enjoyed being exposed and surrounded by art at the Artisan. And we've taken over the Tuscany, growing larger with every single change of space. Last year, oh dear 2020. Well, we made the decision pretty early on into the pandemic to cancel the event. We had talked about a virtual event. We thought there just wasn't enough time to change formats and provide the community with what they had come to expect from a B-Sides event, at least for within the Las Vegas environment. This year, the board of directors decided we didn't want to take any chances either. There just wasn't enough evidence that it would be safe for our participants, speakers, volunteers, and staff to travel. And seeing as how a large contingency of our staff and volunteers come from outside of the US, there was no evidence they would even be able to come into the country and remain safe. So we switched formats. We changed to a virtual event. So whether it was held at the mansion, the Artisan, the Tuscany, or in this crazy virtual space, one thing has and always will be true. Every single one of you, whether sitting around picking locks or watching a talk, speaking to an audience in a track or in a hallway, playing one of the games or contests, or hanging out at the amazing pool party, we're all participants in this awesome thing that we do. Everybody contributes, everybody gets something out of it, and that's always been the goal of B-Sides. We talk a lot about people being able to start off their careers, and we have means of doing that. We get the newbies coming in and learning all kinds of cool stuff that they had never considered before. We give people opportunities to become involved in that community, whether it's for volunteering or speaking for the first time. There's a lot of activity that takes place, not only as a part of the track content, but outside those doors, inside the hallways, having those conversations at the pool parties. So something to keep in mind, you're all a member of a greater community, and you should be proud of being a part of it. We have programs for students, for vets, and for local Vegas community members as well. We always want to make sure that these folks are taken care of who may either be unable to get someplace or just having a hard time convince their boss they need to be able to donate money just because they live in the local community. So this is how we're doing it this year. We've got a number of different tracks. For those of you who've been with us in person, you're kind of familiar with our setup. We've got multiple tracks where talks take place. And I'm going to go ahead and give each of those chairs of those tracks a minute to introduce themselves and what the track is about. First of all, we've got David and Phil, and they're going to talk about breaking ground.
Good morning, I'm Damon.
And I'm Phil.
In addition to being program chair for Security B-Sides Las Vegas, I'm also a track chair, along with Phil, for our Breaking Ground track. As the name implies, Breaking Ground is focused on groundbreaking original security research and conversations on the next big thing.
Breaking Ground is a track where hackers, new, old, and in between, can show off their latest and greatest. This year's top topics include things like repo jacking, crypto hacking, car emulating, machine learning, and anything else these geniuses can come up with.
There are no rules or preconceptions for topics or presentation methods, and if there were, our researchers would probably just break them anyway. Tune in and see what's news and what's new.
Next up, we've got Alan. He's going to talk about Common Ground.
Hi, I'm Alan Friedman. Welcome to the Common Ground track. We're really excited this year to have some great content in Common Ground. Common Ground isn't just sort of a catch-all for B-Sides content. It's really the space that the whole family can play in for information security. We're going to talk about important security issues, but also fun lifestyle issues, important things that affect all of us like mental health and public policy, as well as a chance to dive into some of the basics that cross-cut and don't fit quite as well as some of the other tracks. I want to thank David Mortman and DT for doing the bulk share of the work this year. We think that there's going to be some great content for you. And if this is your first time, think about what you might want to share with us next year.
Now I'd like to introduce Gabriel and Urban. They're going to be talking ground truth.
Hey, welcome to the Ground Truth track. I'm Gabriel Bassett. I've been a security data scientist for 8 or 9 years now.
And I'm Urban Martin, track co-chair. I've been a security data scientist for several years as well.
And so the Ground Truth track is a track that brings together academics, scientists, hackers, all to kind of share ideas, ask questions, and compare notes. You know, it's about everything scientific when it comes to security. Not just machine learning and AI, but also things like data visualization, analysis, how to check hypotheses, academic research, all those things that add the scientific aspect of information security. You know, and for us to be able to have these great conversations, you know, there's a couple things that are important to us. First, when we're listening to a speaker, you know, it's always important to kind of take it as the person is trying to express the truth. And if you're concerned that you may not understand it, ask questions, try to figure out and clarify that truth, as opposed to trying to prove anything false. You know, we want to have that good dialogue. And for those people being questioned, it's always important to kind of receive that as if someone's trying to clarify their understanding. Because really, it's only when we kind of get together and work together to understand that we come together and have that great understanding. So thank you for coming to our track and enjoy the talks.
Now it's Kathleen, Higher Ground.
Hi, it's Kathleen. I'm Kathleen Smith, the track chair for Higher Ground. And it is my honor to bring Higher Ground to the BSidesLV community because we all know that we could do better at our career search. At Higher Ground, we cover various different topics on everything from what to do with your resume, how do you go through an interview, and how do you look at your overall career strategy. We bring in speakers who have really interesting topics as far as their own career journey, or recruiters who can tell you what you're doing wrong and what to do right. The other things that we do in Higher Ground is we bring in technical recruiters to provide you resume review, and we're doing that virtually this year. And we also bring in folks who have more than 10 years information security experience to provide you some career coaching, which we are also doing again this year. So thank you for joining me for Higher Ground.
I'd like to hand it off to Bo Woods with I Am The Cavalry.
Hi, I'm Bo Woods. Welcome to I Am The Cavalry track at B-Sides Las Vegas. We have some really fun and exciting talks for you this year. I Am The Cavalry track is essentially a track supported by I Am The Cavalry Grassroots Initiative. If you don't know about the initiative, you can go to iamthecavalry.org and find out all about it. Essentially, it started with a realization that our dependence on connected technology has grown faster than our ability to secure it in areas impacting human life and public safety. So if that sounds interesting to you, come and watch the talks that we have for you this year.
We've got Guy McDudefellow. Wow, that's hard to say. He's with Proving Ground.
Hi everybody, I'm Guy McDudefellow, one of the co-chairs of the B-Sides Las Vegas Proving Ground track. Our track is focused on helping people improve their public speaking skills and present at an international conference with brand new research for the first time. I have been spending my quarantine working on improving my ability to make really good coffee and building stuff out of wood so that I don't have to stare at computers 1 second longer than I absolutely have to. And one of the things I like about this track is not only the way that it helps people prepare to present their research and get their ideas out to communities who need them, but also because of the relationships that it helps people form and the career mentoring that it provides to people who really end up benefiting from it. So enjoy our talks.
And this is Baby Doll with Ground 1234.
This is Ground 1234, and I'm Baby Doll. Welcome to the track that's focused on insecurity of passwords and other authentication solutions, bringing together security researchers, password crackers, and experts in password security from around the globe in order to better understand and address the challenges surrounding digital authentication. This track explores all facets of authentication security, from analysis and education to creating, securing, cracking, and exploiting authentication solutions.
So how it's going to work is during each of the talks in the stream, they're going to be identified by track name. And you can join the discussion about the talks in the corresponding track channel in Discord. That information will be posted in the stream, so you won't miss out on anything. In addition to our tracks that are taking place, we also have a game show and a couple of really cool contests happening, including our Pros versus Joes Capture the Flag event. Here's Dichotomy to tell you more about that.
Good evening. I'm Dichotomy. I am the founder of the Pros vs. Joes CTF that has been running for the last many years at several B-Sides, primarily BSidesLV, B-Sides Delaware, B-Sides DC, and others. I'm going to give you a quick overview of the game that we run, which is an educational game. It is all about training our Joes and giving people an opportunity to try and gain the skills they need for a new career, for bettering themselves, for contributing to the community at large and the industry that they want to get into. And so we'll spend the next several minutes talking about that. Of note, this is going to be our 9th BSidesLV. We've been at every LV since about 2013, and we're proud and happy to be part of it. It is our crown jewels, the best game we have of the year. But having said that, we started in B-Sides Delaware in 2012, and without Quadling and Kick Froggy, we would not be where we are, so I've got to give a shout out to them. And moreover, while I am the founder and the person who tries to lead this ragtag band of hackers to do this thing, I got to say that the people that build and run this, the staffers on the ProvsJoes crew, make this happen. This game could not exist without them. They do countless things, from writing code to developing the environment that we run in to running the actual game. There are dozens of people in the ProvsJoes staff, some of whom have had to step away, some of whom are still actively participating. In every B-Sides, we pick up a few more staffers of amazing people, and I just cannot thank them enough. But in any case, let's get down to it and talk about the game that we're going to be playing this year at BSidesLV 2021 during the camp stay at home. Our game has been the same format it's been ever since the beginning. It is a competitive, combative, red versus blue. Our players are blue Joes. They defend the assets we give them against the red team. The red team are effectively non-player characters. They do not actually compete against the blues. The blues are competing against each other. So in our game, it's not about outrunning the bear, it's about outrunning everybody else. Because as we all know, in the real world, the adversary is got advantages that the defenders just cannot deal with. And so our game is all about teaching the defenders how to protect themselves, how to understand the adversary's tactics, and how to deal with the situation they have with the tools that they could have and the skills that they can get. So we try and give them a unique opportunity to deal with live professional adversaries who know exactly what they're doing and are able to penetrate and persist and move laterally and perform C2 and do all the things that happen in the real world with nation-state adversaries, advanced actors, and so forth. And so our guiding principles to the point of learning are: learn, number one. 2, have fun, and 3, win if you can. We have that sequence because competition is lovely and we want to see a winner and we want to see the winners proud, but again, we're a dojo. We are about learning and about teaching all the players, whether it's the winning team or not. So we try and emphasize that stratum, that order of operation, in order to ensure that the spirit of competition does not get too strong and undermine the core philosophy that we have, that we try and bring to every B-Sides, every event that we do. Again, our contributions of our staff cannot be understated. They've done so much, but let's talk about the game itself. The blue players spend weeks preparing. The Joes, when they are accepted, they get early acceptance weeks and if not months in advance, depending on the game. And here at LV, it's about 2 months on average. But they are then brought into teams. They spend weeks going into team meetings, going in Slack sessions, conference calls, getting hands-on, talking about what they can do in order to prepare for the onslaught of the red team. The red team, likewise, is preparing in advance. They have early access to the environment. The idea is to emulate the, air quotes, advanced persistent threat, the advanced actors who will be in the environments and have already penetrated and have gotten deep access into the Linux, the Windows systems. And in our environment, it is effectively emulating an enterprise environment. Each blue team has a dedicated environment that is unto themselves, a classic enterprise with firewalls, DNS, web, mail, desktop servers, Windows, Linux, the whole 9 yards. And this environment is the playground through which we play our game. And so the Reds have early access. They are the advanced actors that get in pre-game activity, and the Blue Joes and their captains, their coaches, must then defend against them. So they have this early access, the red team, the Joes are preparing in advance, and at the start of the game, then the pandemonium begins. The game is, of course, scored. We have a scoring engine that we've homebrewed, and we have facilities there to monitor service activity. Like in a real enterprise, in the day-to-day, the scoring is based upon the service uptime. So we look at web, we look at DNS, we look at mail, we look at other random services, and we monitor the uptime in real time. And so the points are largely driven by that service uptime. Red can get into the business and do things like send out signals that they have control of assets, and so deduct the points from the blues. So while the Blues strive to maintain their uptime and gain points through that, the Reds strive to show that they still have control of assets and are therefore not removed, and therefore the Blues need to do a little bit more. And so with those beacons, they degrade the points of the blue teams. There's an additional scoring element in which that the players can use their score to buy advantages and to upgrade services, to buy new assets, to buy advanced defenses or something like that. But at the end of the day, it is basically an attempt to try and further emulate real life in terms of bringing the holistic sense of the, it's not just cyber in an abstract. It is, in fact, a business, and you have to deal with the function and the economics of the underlying entity in which you are defending. Having said that, in addition, you have a dynamic aspect to our games. We have some automated code that drives new assets come in, old assets get pulled out without warning. And so the players may be busily defending an asset field and protecting themselves against red and getting a good grip on things, and then suddenly the board moves under their feet. And suddenly they have new servers that they didn't expect, old servers disappear, horribly underprotected, under-hardened, and rife with red team. And so this is the reality in which the Blues live for the duration of the game. In this B-Sides at home, camp stay at home, they will be going for 30-some solid hours without a break. Normally we do a 2-day game with an interval in between, but it's remote, so we're going to do a marathon like in the real world. And so that's what they face for the time ahead, and that is what they will do. But at the end of the day, again, with the emphasis on learning, at the end, all is revealed. In the middle of the game, we are going to give the red team an opportunity to share a little bit with the blue teams and so that the Joes can get a bit of a teaser as to what they've been facing, a little bit of FaceTime, and then at the very end of the game, when all is said and done, the red does a complete and absolute hot wash where they reveal all, they explain what happened, and there's a lot of interaction between red and blue to explain what they saw, what the defenders saw, what the offensive side saw, talking about technology and about methodologies and adversary behaviors and all those lovely things. So it's the best opportunity at the end to bring it all together and to really learn. Of course, there is one last aspect of the game that I should mention that I hadn't yet, and that is Scorched Earth. After 30-some hours of continuous play, we give all the players a chance to kind of blow a little steam off, and the red team is given carte blanche to do whatever they want to do. Throughout the course of the game, in order to maintain some semblance of sanity, they have some restrictions. They can't lock out blue. They can't do bad things too terribly. But by the time the last hour of the game, red has the opportunity to pull off all the gloves, and they get to just go to town. As I say, smoke them if you got them. And so they get to tear down the entire environment, burn it all to ashes. What they can control, which often they don't control the entire thing. Some blue teams do remarkably well at evicting the red team and keeping them out. But all the same, it's a lot of fun at the end of the game after a long and arduous drag from both sides, and a lot of laughs and a lot of fun are felt. But at the end of the day, we learn through the crucible. You know, in ProvsJoes, we put people into an intense pressure situation that is completely safe. They can do whatever they want in our game. They can blow things up. They can let things go sideways. But the opportunity is for them to learn, to build themselves up, and to make friends and network and to grow in their field and flourish. And so that's what ProvsJoes is all about. And we're going to play another game this year, and it's going to be amazing, thanks to my staff, who has done fantastic. And I can't wait. And this is still yet just another milestone. There will be amazing games in the future with LB and other B-Sides, and it's going to be fantastic. And thank you very much for your attention. I hope you have a good B-Sides.
Also on Discord, we have our middle ground hangout spot, just like we did in the real world in our big area in the center there between all the tracks. So be sure to join there, stop by, say hi, wave at people, do the good things. Going into some of the technical support stuff we've got going on, in case you have a need for any assistance, if you're having problems with Discord, be sure to hit us up on Twitter at BSidesLV, and we will respond as quickly as we can. We want to make sure that everybody can have a good time. While we're talking about having a good time in Discord, we don't want to squash anybody's creativity or make anybody feel uncomfortable ever. One of the ways we're meeting that need is we're going ahead and moderating our channels. There are certain words that the staff and board believe should never be spoken or typed, and those are banned words. A lot of this is being performed by bots and moderated by moderators within the channels. So feel comfortable to express yourself, but please do it in good taste. We also have channels for info booth, and our job board is also up there. Please be sure to check them out. You can find all that information up on Discord. One of the coolest things is our pool party that we have every year, and we always have such a blast doing it. It's how we wrap up our conference year after year, and it is an event. We've managed to be able to bring part of that onto the Discord, and it takes place this coming on Saturday after Hackerwood Squares at 10 p.m. Pacific time. Please join us. So one last thing I have to say, and I'm going to try not to get choked up while doing it. These events, whether it's this year, or any other year, or any year in the future, cannot take place, excuse me, without our amazing volunteers. When I say everybody is participants, I truly do mean that. But some people step up above and beyond that participant level, and they dedicate their time and their energy to making this thing happen. We have our standard volunteers, and we love them all. They come back year after year after year for the abuse of 4 days in Vegas of setting up, running the show, tearing things down, running gear to a storage unit in the desert heat every single year, and we love them all. Above and beyond that, we have our staff. I can't say enough about our staff. um, whew, sorry, I'm not dropping names because they know who they are. The people who pulled this together are just the end all be all. They work on this diligently and tirelessly. I shouldn't say tirelessly because I know that's not true. That's very evident on the pool parties on Saturday. So please take that in consideration. They work on this thing, but all year long, making this thing happen. This year was such a challenge. Last year was such a challenge. We've all struggled through, but the staff across the board has been supportive and loving and caring and made sure that everybody was okay, which hasn't always been easy because some of us weren't okay when we were doing that. So nothing but love for all of you guys. Okay, enough of that. Thank you all for joining us. Please enjoy your time here. Check out the tracks, check out the contests, watch the things, see the game show, chat with each other, continue to build a community, one that the B-Sides ethos are built off of. And thank you all for joining us for Camp Stay at Home. Enjoy the con. Bye.